from his home by Englishmen.
On the other side are the pilgrims who escaped from King James I, so they would be able to live in their own religion. These two different sides came together once in a time so long ago that only the rocks remember.
Our story began with flameless rocks, a huge boulder surrounded by a forest. A tribe lived there called Wampanoag, the people of dawn.
We planted corn, beans, squash, and pumpkin. We hunted deer and turkey and fish in the sea and fresh water stream. Every year we gave thanks for these gifts to Mother Earth at the Green Corn Dance, which lasts many days.
In the early 1600s, Englishmen visited their shores. These men sailed in ships with butterfly wings, killed with guns, and kidnapped Wampanoag men for slaves.
We became afraid of the white men. One spring morning, we Englishmen sailed into the cove and tripped 17 of the Wampanoag men into our ship. Then we sailed away. I am Squanto. I was trapped on the ship and taken away to New Ireland,
England.
We sold the man into slavery. Squanto was sold to an Englishman like me.
After many years of slavery in 1619, I was able to return to my home village, but my return was not too good. My village was destroyed. All of my people were dead from the European plague.
Squanto was full of grief. He finally joined another tribe nearby.
Back in England, King James I demanded that everyone believe in the same religion or leave England.
A group of people called the pedestrians refused to obey.
We believed we had the right to worship whomever we believed in. We called ourselves the Pilgrims.
We fled to the New World, America, which we believed to be full of savages.
The Mayflower was the only ship that would be able to cross the ocean.
On September 1620, 102 men, women, and children and their furniture, hens, pigs, dogs, and 9 cats crawled aboard that small ship.
We were crowded below the deck and suffered terrible seasicknesses.
On December 11, 1620, the Pilgrims and the Mayflower landed at Plymouth Rock.
The Pilgrims finally had a home.
But when winter struck violently, the Pilgrims had to stop building their houses and live on the Mayflower.
We huddled in blankets and layers of clothes.
We only have 5 kernels of Indian corn to eat a day.
8 pilgrims died in June.
17 in February and 13 in March.
When spring arrived, only 15 sailing pilgrims and half the crew had survived. 17 were children.
There were a few of us left, but we worked hard to survive.
We planted peas, wheat, and barley. We also scouted for Indians.
But the Pilgrims did not meet any savages.
Then one day, when the birds were swelling and the leaves were swelling, we were shocked to see a tall, handsome Indian come stranding into Plymouth.
At first we were scared, but then he raised his hand and said, "Welcome, Englishmen." He spoke English.
He was friendly and dignified.
The next week, while the Indian returned with Squanto and the leader of the tribe, Squanto interpreted while the tribe leader and the Pilgrims
Keep going.
Created a peace treaty.
Then I decided to stay with the Pilgrims. I could see that the Pilgrims did not know how to survive in the New World. They could barely catch enough fish for the colony. So I taught them how to fish with nets, and I took them to water where the cod and salmon were abundant.
Then in late May, when the oak leaves were as big as his thumb, Squanto taught us to plant beans, corn, pumpkin, and squash, just like the Wampanoag tribe had done.
Then he showed us the leaf nests of the squirrels and the hideouts of skunks and raccoons and the turkey that had dwelled in the open forest.
Squanto showed the pilgrims how to survive in the new world. He gave them tools they needed to live in this different land.
Because of Squanto helped, the harvest of 1621 was bounteous beyond the most hope-filled dreams of the pilgrims. Corn, beans, pumpkin, wheat, and barley spilled from baskets.
Larders were stocked with venison, salmon, herring, cod, and duck.
Racks of wild berries lay drying in the sun.
The chickens laid eggs abundantly, and the cats grew fat on field mice.
It was time to celebrate. The terrible winter was done. The suffering was past.
The new governor, William Bradford, asked Squanto to invite a few of his friends to a feast.
Before sent out men to shoot turkeys and ducks. The woman baked bread.
Boards were set on barrels covered with cloth and placed in the middle of the only street in Plymouth.
Squanto's friends arrived on the day of the feast with 5 deer and many turkeys instead of a few friends.
He brought 90!
At first we were shocked. Then we went right back to work. We baked more bread, cooked more vegetables, and stuffed more turkeys.
For 3 days, the pilgrims and the Indians feast, play games, and shot guns and arrows.
It was pure celebration. We didn't know what a tradition we had begun. We called our celebration a harvest feast.
We called it the Green Corn Dance.
Now it is called the first Thanksgiving.
In the years that followed, President George Washington decided to have the first National Thanksgiving Day. And President Abraham Lincoln the last Thursday in November as a holiday of thanksgiving and praise.
Today, it is still a harvest festival and Green Corn Dance, and it is more than that.
Thanksgiving is a special day which we take time to appreciate what we have, whether that is
Family, friends,
Pets,
education,
Opportunity.
Or food to eat.
We are